Hey everyone, this is Tani Rod from Gemrock Stone. It's been a long time. Um, I think at least a month, so sorry. Um, yeah, it's been a long time. But we should have been at least halfway through the book of Matthew. So let us continue without hesitation. um, I think that we were walking through the the Beatitudes, right? And that's Matthew 5. And Beatitudes were just a Sermon on the Mount. I mean, what do people say, right? Theologians, which I'm not, um, that this was Jesus's only sermon or something like that. But I know that he had a lot of different gatherings, so I don't know what that means. He gathered with a lot of people, a lot of clusters of people. That's what he did. He never spoke to one person. No, I shouldn't say that. But he would always speak to a crowd. It would be one person, and they would go and grab somebody else, and then all of a sudden there was a crowd of people listening, to someone talking about that the kingdom is here, and and this is something that the people were waiting for, right? They were waiting for the Messiah to return and for the kingdom to be here. Um, so this is a Sermon on the Mount. I believe that I talked about the first five. So let me go on to 6 and 7. Let me see, 6 and 7, 8 and 9. I'm going to talk about those four. So 6 says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they." I'm sorry, it's got to see it like that. "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." All right. I was reading through the Beatitudes yesterday because I really had been mentally and then emotionally preparing, to go through the rest of Matthew, to continue to go through Matthew, right? And I always need to break it down in little bits, trust me, for me more than anything else, right? Because I expect that the Lord will download, His revelation, His fresh revelation as I read it, and we're together at this time. So, I just wanted to say that I have been watching The Chosen. I don't know if anybody has seen that. The Chosen is like you can download the app or you can catch it on YouTube, and it is a new rendition of Yeshua, of Christ. It's a new rendition, and it's absolutely, it's funny. You can see how humorous Jesus was, and I know he was, because I mean, for somebody to to bust in a wedding, and the first miracle to be wine, you can't be a boring person. And he was very, of course, enigmatic. Jesus the man drew people to him, and he was by no means boring. And so it's a beautiful kind of way of showing how human he was. Of course, we know as believers, right? Jesus, Yeshua, 100% man and 100% God. Yeah, try to wrap your head around that. It's a little hard, but I would suggest it. Season 2, episode 2 will be tomorrow, and I kind of binge watched, for a week, and trying to catch up because I had missed it, like all season 1, which was last year. I had missed it, and so it's just like no joke. In every episode, you're like, oh my God. That's all I gotta say. Every episode is like, oh my God. All right, so I'm gonna start from 9 up, because when I read it, it reminded me of my mom. "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." And so my mom was definitely a peacemaker. She was someone who privately, she had her moments, with me. My mom shared a lot of stuff with me when she was alive, and a lot of people don't know, like, that part of her, where she vented and she was like, you know, a lot like me. And but mostly what overtook my mom, the character traits that overtook her was that she was a woman of peace, truly peace, And when she spoke with such conviction in God, and I think that my mom was one of those believers, one of those women who always sought after peace, and because she needed it, right? And God gave it to her. He actually gave her the gift of peace, And so whenever she would speak to people, um, she would endow them, She wouldn't extend God's peace, and I think a lot of that rubbed off on me, um, as people tell me. And so the words, Yeshua says, right? It's not Yeshua, which is the word. He said, "Blessed are the Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." So I know that when we ask for peace continuously, and God gives it to us, he downloads the gift of peace over us. So when we speak in peace. So when we need to talk to someone, when they need to talk to us, you know, they leave with a sense of peace over their situation and themselves, right? Um, and so God says that we're sons of God, right? He says that we are His sons, His daughters, that we are His children, because like father, like son, right? And I see that clearly. I see how, like a lot of my mother's peacefulness, especially when it comes to things of the Lord. I have a temper. You probably can't tell, right? But I do. But my temper is a lot like Peter. Like I just, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, God. And then but 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 there's but when I speak to someone, especially with the things of the Lord, or when I want to encourage them, or I want to let them know how important they are, or the potential that they have, um, I know that God graces me with His peace that He just gives to me with. And so I am called His daughter. Verse 8 says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." The pure in heart are those people, who are perfect. No. Those people who are transparent, right? Those people who know who they are. And and they're not inclined to evilness. I have to say that they're not like inclined to evilness. Like some of us are inclined to be mischievous, right? Like what was that little cartoon? I forgot. It's an old cartoon, but about this little boy who's always mischievous. It's really old. um, but the pure in heart are those people who are not inclined to darkness, not inclined, to evilness, and they have a touch of innocence about them, and they and so because of their childlike way of being, they can see God. It's like children, right? We always hear that, right? The children that are so innocent are able to see things in the spirit world that adults can't, because we're just We've just been tainted. We've been muddied in this world, and so we don't have that innocence anymore. Like I know that I've mentioned it before, that when I was a young child, and I have to be like 4 or 5, that my church was across the street where I lived in New York City, and we lived on the third floor. And at one time, I did see the enemy on top of the stoop of, on top of the church, and I never saw anything like that again in my life. But I was a kid. I know that as children, because of their innocence, because of the purity of their hearts, they are able to see God. And so that's what the word says here. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. It doesn't mean that as adults we don't have the opportunity to see God again, but we have to go back. We have to go back and be stripped, and we have to be like a child again, and not be so tainted and muddied by this world. Okay. So, and I'll go to 6. Verse 6 says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied," right? And so when you are that type of person that you hunger and you thirst for righteousness, you're going to be satisfied. I remember when I first visited this small little church in Delray. It's a small little Spanish church. The pastor is from Venezuela, and everybody else was straight up immigrants. When I tell you, like, no papers, came across the Rio Grande and that type of thing, yeah, and just a beautiful church, a beautiful, when I say church, people, and I remember that their way of worship was so foreign to me because I grew up in a very traditional church, and where we couldn't even clap. We had like we had the programa, right? Like like the little pamphlet that would show the service, and we would wave it, to clap as a form of clapping because we weren't even allowed to clap. We did have music though. Yeah, we did have an organist, and we had a choir, and we did have music for sure. But we, but anyway, right? That was that church then. I'm sure that denomination is not like that now. They're very liberal actually. And but this little church, they were like, okay, Pentecostal, right? And I remember the first couple of times that I went to their worship service, it was just insane. I first of all, I was like, okay, this is weird. And I remember learning in church that to be weary of these types of worship. And then when I kind of relaxed and I saw that it was not crazy, that it was just a type of way that these brothers and sisters were worshiping the Lord, and I kind of relaxed. I totally enjoyed it. I just allowed myself to get into that type of worship and singing and jumping, and I didn't want it to stop. Like I remember one day when it was just a gorgeous a gorgeous time with the Lord, and all of a sudden it stopped, and I was like, no. And then we had the service was up, and there was another congregation that was coming in from different brothers and sisters there because the place was being rented, and we had to leave. We had to vacate the temple, and then all of a sudden my brothers and sisters outside, they were talking about shoes, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you talk about shoes when you just experienced the Lord that way? Crazy. But it did happen to me a few times where you just experience the presence of God, which is bigger than big. It's better than better. It's better than anything. It is like you. It is, oh my God. It's like God's real, and The Bible is true, and it's a plan. My life is a plan. I'm here for a purpose. And so, you think just kind of take a different light, right? Because you're not alone, and you are not here by chance, nor you are supposed to do life on your own. We do life with the giver of life, and we go to him for our life because he mapped it out already, and he wrote the manual, right? He wrote our manual, and when I go to him for clarification and for direction, right? Anyway, so I was hungry and I was thirsty for him, right? For righteousness, right? For him, because he is righteous. I mean, we are in pursuit, right? You and I are in pursuit of righteousness, right? But we're not righteous. In him we are. Like, if we hide in him, yes, okay, fine. But righteousness is Abba. It's him. And so when we are hungry and we're thirsty for him, he satisfies us. Absolutely satisfies us. 100%. Like, there's nothing that could satisfy. Like, there's nothing. There's no one. Okay, and number 7, blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. So, if we give love, we get love, right? If we extend mercy, we shall receive mercy. It's just the way it is. Whatever we give, we get. It's just, because I'm not talking about law of attraction. I don't even know what that means, really. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Yeshua said that blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the people who extend mercy, who extend grace, who forgive. Who give to the undeserving. Because as we do unto others, the Lord does unto us. Right? And so if we give mercy, we shall have it. That's all that is. That's all that is. There are 2 more, but I want to go slow with them because they're a little bit different. I think the ones that I just read were like downloads, right? Peacemaker, the download. Somebody pure in heart, a download, right? You can merciful, a download, and thirsting and being hungry for righteousness, also a download. Like, these are things that we can ask the Lord for. God, give me peace. Let me be a merciful person. Let me be hungry for you. Let me let me be pure in heart. So these are things that we can ask God, and God give it to us. Trust me, sometimes when I have things in my heart that are like not good, or feelings for people that are not good, I ask God to take it away. And it's not like he does it right away, right? Because sometimes it's fast. Like one time, like recently, like not recent, but like recent a little while ago, like a few years ago, like, oh, that was fast. Just took some feelings away, and but sometimes it's very long for him to take away some feelings, but he does it. He does it. Sometimes it's very, 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 very long, but he does it. So you can have the memory, but you don't have those feelings. Like recently I went to to Miami like back in January and okay, Florida. And I went down to a city and oh my God, so many memories. And I thought I was gonna feel like weird about moving in those circles, again, but no bad feelings. I was actually happy and enjoying, like, oh, it's like it never happened. It's like those painful memories and those painful experiences, like if it never happened. Because I feel good. I feel fine. I was able to enjoy the company that I was with, my niece and my sister. I was able to enjoy that and not feel bad. Only God can do that. Only God can do that. But, we do need to ask, right? Our job is to ask. All right, everyone. I'm glad to be back. I may be moving, so I don't know. Well, I think I'll do a couple of more here in this apartment, but I think I may be moving soon. So we'll catch each other in the future in my new place. All right, everyone. Jim Rockstone. Talk to you soon. Bye.